Hi. Hi guys. Hi everybody. It's been a minute. Well, it's technically been 2 weeks, but it feels like it's been an eternity to me. How is everybody doing? For those of you watching live, please make sure you comment where you are watching from. What state, city, if you don't mind, I would appreciate it. But I hope everybody had an amazing July 4th. A nice long weekend, and that today this week has started in the most amazing way. If not, tomorrow is another day and you get back up there and back out there and try to kick butt, right? So anyway, excuse me, today I want to talk about one question I get often. I've gone on a diet, I've cut down my eating, but I'm not losing weight. Um, so because it's a question that comes often and it's something I've experienced personally and I still experience every so often when I'm not paying attention, I figure I should talk about it a little bit. This, of course, doesn't concern folks with specific conditions, and that has specific challenges that may be preventing them from losing weight, such as some endocrine conditions. By endocrine, I mean things that have to do with, for instance, thyroid, um, and other things of this sort, because there are way more other conditions that will cause that. But thyroid is one that's very common that may be getting in your way or that may be causing weight. Actually, I'll list some other, because by endocrine system, I'm also talking about hormonal imbalance. But with women specifically, really that tends to um, the incidence may be a little more higher, with menopause, for instance, because you are going through the whole hormonal change, and that's when people really see the weight gain happening and the resistance. So if you are not proactive in doing the right thing, you really can start pounding on the weight and feel defeated very quickly. So, to the question, I've cut the food down. How come I can lose weight? Well, there are several things. There are several things. And I'm going to start, since, diabetes is one thing I talk about a lot. I'm going to start with insulin resistance actually. You may not be losing weight because of several factors. One of them coming to mind, for instance, is insulin resistance. If you are insulin resistant, really your body is not breaking down carbs as well as it should. And if most of your energy source happens to be from the carbs, then you are not giving your body enough carbs or enough energy, I should say. So it could be triggering your body into that type of survival mode, where if um, although you've cut down the food, you're still doing a whole lot of carbs. You, the body's thinking you are not feeding it enough. It's thinking you are not feeding it enough, so it is hanging on to things. So your solution then would be to try to counteract the insulin resistance, but also address your source of energy. Okay, the um how much carbs you have on your plate and what type of carbs, because the quality of carbs you are eating is also important. That's one factor. Another factor that I should have mentioned even before this is you may not be eating enough. Sometimes we try to, in our passion to be losing weight, we may actually not be eating enough. So it gets a little tricky because honestly, hi Bernie, I hope you are doing well. Honestly, one basic theory about weight gain is that you are putting in way more than you are putting out. That's one basic theory. Of course, there are a bunch of other things that come into play, but that's the basic theory, right? And so when you decide, well, I want to lose weight and whatnot, and you get into that whole journey of trying to lose weight, depending on what modifications you have made, you may actually not be putting in enough calories. So you again may trigger your body into starvation mode. So it's going to be hanging onto things. This is what happens with hi Adrian. I hope you are doing well. Let me know where you guys are watching from. So this is where you really want to be careful with what you are eating. This is why I so recommend to really try to use those apps where you can kind of track how much you are putting in, because they are very helpful in kind of judging how many calories you need in the day. Now, is this efficient for everybody? Not necessarily. This is when you really want to study yourself and see how it's working for you. Hi, Shani. Good to see you. Long time. I hope you are well. So that's the other thing, how many calories you are putting in. The third thing is the quality of the food, the quality of the food you are putting in. Let me explain. Um, you may have cut down on calories, but you may be putting in bad calories. Okay, so you may be putting in bad calories that are not necessarily useful to your body. For example, being deficient in some vitamins really doesn't help toward your muscle mass, right? Your body building muscle or keeping your muscle mass. And we all know that muscle is a big calorie burner. If you are trying to help your metabolic rate, meaning the amount of energy you are burning at rest, or even when you try to exercise, how much calorie you are spending, you want to have some muscle, you want to activate your muscle. So when your muscles are kind of not really taken care of, or they don't have the nutrients they need to function properly, you are not doing yourself justice. This is when we talk a lot about eating healthy, eat this or that, but this is when those things become important. You kind of really want to try to put some quality food on your plate. Not everybody gets it perfect every day, but you try your best, because ultimately you are trying to lose weight, and you can really test and see. um Trying to eat not so good food in small amount versus eating very good quality food in the right amount, and you find yourself um getting results. Well, I've tested it and I learned the hard way, because I like to eat some things, and then I learned that I could not eat those things all the time. No problem, Bernie. Shani, I know it's not hard. It's not easy. It's not hard. What? It's not easy. This is why you start from somewhere. This is why you start from somewhere. Like I said, it becomes a learned habit. It really, you have to retrain yourself. You really have to retrain yourself. Some people are good at just switching everything overnight depending on what's going on. But some others really have to retrain themselves, and you have to stay consistent. And it's good when you have a partner, it's good when the people around you are trying also, because it becomes hard when you are trying and everybody else is just living happy. No, they should not be punished because you are trying and they are all happy, they don't have any problem. But it's nice when they are supportive. And at the end of the day, like I said in the past, you have to remind yourself why in the first place, because it's your body, and you are the one that feels a certain way in your body, not the others. So that becomes a big deal. Another reason why it's hard to lose weight, and this one is a little bit for women, because guys deal with having a hard time losing weight, but overall guys tend to lose weight a little more easier than women. Hi Gabby, how are you doing? Good to see you. So women, don't forget, especially if you are still how can I say, if you are still in a childbearing age ish, don't forget the cycle and all the hormonal switch you go through every month. If you are um, perimenopausal or around menopause, don't forget those things are also kind of playing. So, and there are specific way to eat at that time. For instance, some symptoms of PMS for many is fatigue, right? You are tired, you are exhausted, and what do you go to for many people is caffeine. Too much caffeine could actually be working against you when it comes to trying to lose weight. So you kind of try, you kind of need to try to balance how much caffeine you are taking actually. So it's like little things you kind of have to be aware of and really not beating yourself up when you see the pounds come on naturally because it's gonna go away. You keep doing what you are doing because the added stress just kind of make things build on a little bit more than it should, and it's not helping you. I Shani Shani and her wine. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing her. Well, it's okay to have wine once in a while. Yeah. All right. So I talked about exercise, the quality of food. Oh no, I did not talk about exercise, but I talked about the quality of food, hormone, calories, and also now I need to talk about exercise, which I've talked about several times. So I'm not going to beat you guys' ears with exercising. Um, Exercise is not just about losing weight. It's also the mental health. It's also the stress relief. It's all of those good little benefits it brings. As a matter of fact, I just read an article that came out this week talking about how many diseases out there could be prevented by just 3 times a week, 30 minutes of a little bit of cardio, walking, exercise, but that's not happening. Meanwhile, the cost of healthcare is creeping up and up and up and up. So sometimes it gets exhausting to hear you need to exercise, you need to exercise, you need to exercise. But if you are one person that thinks about the future and quality of life, and you don't necessarily want to deal with all kind of medication, you don't want to deal with doctors, not doctor, hospital visits, in and out, in and out. This is little changes you want to incorporate, right? And it becomes a habit for you because at this point you've been doing it for such a long time. Little story, I saw this patient this week of he's in his early 90s, and he's living, he has been discharged, but in his early 90s, advanced dementia, really not much memory. However, this man has been walking every day a minimum of 3 miles for over 15 years, the wife said. So although the memory is not there, his health was pretty. Uh, um, I was shocked. He was given 6 months to live upon some initial diagnosis he had, and it's been 12 years. The wife said, and he's still kicking, like he's kicking it like crazy. So I'm sure there's some genes that play, but you know now, another thing about the weight loss. One thing I'll also tell folks is kind of look at your family members and see the tendency in the family. If you are the only outlier and you kind of realize, oh, it's you're eating your lifestyle, then you know where the problem is coming from. But if you notice excessive weight is something that runs in the family, especially for those that are active and watch what they eat, then you may be wanting to investigate a little more into hormones. Okay. And if for women and even men now, because I'm seeing more and more men diagnosed with hypothyroidism, which back in the days I hardly saw that, but especially for women, as you get older, this is one thing you check into. So it's good to have your yearly checkup. There is nothing wrong with that. Get your yearly checkup. That's how you get ahead of things. Want to make sure you are in a good shape. If something is coming up, that's when you make changes so you avoid some surprises down the road. But look at family members, look at tendency, look at how things are, and then perhaps you want to look into, maybe some hormonal issue running in the family. That is if not everybody eats fried food every day and drinks several cans of pop every day and all of those things. If it is a lifestyle that you know very well doesn't help, then you know where it's coming from, right? But if there is really no strong explanation as to why, oh my hair, as to why the weight is an issue, then you might consider some investigation. I'm gonna stop talking for a minute and ask you guys, do you have any questions? Because you may have some questions for me. Oh, Adrian, I did not answer you. I'm doing well. How are you? Well, while you guys are thinking so hard, I'm going to bring one thing I was asked about vitamins that may aid with weight loss. There is really no study or anything out there that supports. And by the way, type in your question, okay? There's really nothing out there that really supports vitamin aiding weight loss as far as scientific review, scientific basis. However, talking about muscle health and muscle movement and bone health and all of those that you need for activity, but also that you need for the basal metabolic rate, so burning fat at rest, for instance. There's vitamin B, the vitamin B's, the vitamin D's. Those are um, important vitamins for us. Really, everything is important in the quantity it is needed for the body, really. But those two vitamins, those two type of vitamins, along with magnesium too, are important. And it's amazing how um, how deficient we are in a lot of those things, especially vitamin D. And then you don't know, just parenthesis, it's amazing how low vitamin D affects your mood, by the way. Just a little nugget. All right, so Shani asked a question. Let me see. How can a person figure out what change they need to make when exercising and at a plateau? So, have you changed the type of exercising you are doing? So let me suggest this to you. If you are doing, let's say you right now you are doing 50% cardio, 50% weight, and you are at a plateau, you need to switch things up, right? Other, my suggestion would be really cut down the cardio a little bit. So maybe go down to even, let's say 40, 40% cardio, 60% weight. If that's too much, just to figure out 25, 60%. Do that for like 2 weeks, like do that religiously for 2 weeks, and then switch back in the old mode you were in, if you like. Or if you are seeing that you are actually getting more result, you can stick to this new regimen for a while before you switch back. Because ultimately, you don't want to be doing the same thing like consistently, especially when you are trying to lose weight. You don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So if you devote, or if you devote too much time to cardio, a little less to weight. And by weight, I mean strength training. Really, it doesn't mean you are necessarily lifting weight, but anything that's actually helping you activate your muscles. So it can be small weight, or it can be your body weight, things like that. You switch the ratio. And one of these days, I might invite a personal trainer and to give you some nuggets or some other things to you. But you definitely want to switch that around. Is that helpful, Tonya? Yeah. Hi, Tonya. Hey, long time, lady. Um, yeah, it's hard. It is hard. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the days I cannot make it to the gym, I promise myself at least 10 minutes at home before I get out. So I get up, like I schedule my alarm clock to have that 10 minutes because, some days I have to get started very, very early. There is no time for gym, but I want to do something. Like my big thing is that something has to happen. And then I have rest days. There are days I'm just like, forget this. I already know tomorrow I'm going to be stretching a whole lot and walking, and that's gonna be most of it because I've not done that in a minute, right? And Shani, that's another thing. Do not keep doing the same thing. I already said that, but do not keep doing the same thing. Just don't do the same thing. Break it every so often. Break it every so often because you don't want your body to just get used to it. Then it's not being challenged and it's not trying to lose anything anymore because it's used to it. It's like the people that say, "Oh, I walk 5 miles or 10 miles at work, but I can't lose weight." Well, your body, that's normal for your body. That's not, trying to make it spend more calories. So it's not gonna do anything, you know. So, yeah, back to you, Tonya. It's easy for us to say, "Hey, you have to make time," but when you, in your case, you work very long hours, so start small. Start small. Start small somewhere. Start small at home, and then you go from there. The key is consistency, though. The key is consistency. That's what helps you build on, and then you figure it out as you go, and you know, and you are enjoying it actually. Yeah. All right. Is there any other question? I have taken way more time than I plan to take from you all. Now that Shawnee mentioned about wine, I'm thinking about wine, but I'm not gonna do that. Not today. I think I'll save it for Friday. Have a little glass. But well, if there are no more questions, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming, and I wish you the most wonderful week. Um, Stay encouraged, okay, and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week. If you have any questions, shoot me a message, and hopefully this was helpful to you. Bye bye.